What's going on, everybody? Paddle and Fin has got a meetup going down October 16th through 18th at Eastport Marina and Resort in Alpine, Tennessee, which falls right on Dale Hollow. What we're going to be doing is just hanging out, fishing. Depending on the number of people that show up and the interest, we may do a small tournament. We will have some stuff to give away. Saturday evening, we're going to do a hangout and a little barbecue action. We'll have food for everybody. If you're looking for lodging, you could stay right at the resort. It's $50 per person per night. And what you get is your own personal bedroom on a houseboat, luxury houseboat, courtesy Eastport Marina. That's a special price they gave us to lend to our listeners. If you want more info on the resort, you can go to eastport.info and their website will pop up there. You'll see all the houseboats and things like that. A majority of our hosts are going to be there, and we would love to spend some time on the water with you.
This segment is brought to you by JigMasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to JigMasters.com and use promo code PNF20 and save 20% off your next jig order today.
Let's go!
This is the Chasing the Tide Saltwater segment on the Paddle and Fin Network. I'm your host, Dustin Nichols. So come along for the saltwater shenanigans.
Oh, that's right, everybody. What's up? Welcome back to another segment of Chasing the Tide, your saltwater kayak fishing connection on the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. I'm your host, Dustin Nichols. Today, we got a special guest with us. We got Mr. POCO Cedillo. What's up?
Hey, what's up, man? How's everything going?
Well, what can I say? Ray. I like POCO better. So, hey, let's start off with that. What's up with it? What's the nickname?
Man, my real name is Ray Cedillo, but man, growing up, one of my dad's favorite words was POCO, and honestly, I don't even know where it came from. I just he would use it a lot in different things. And when I started decided to start it, I've been fishing all my life since I was a young kid, and decided to go into guiding. And my business name was Ray's Poco Bueno Guide Service.
Yeah.
And, it just one of those things where I just threw it out there, and my wife said, "Hey, that sounds cool," and we ran with it. And I joined different forums, and my screen name was Poco Bueno.
Yeah.
And seemed like we'd go to meet and greets and do things, and everybody was, "Hey, Poco, and so shit, it seemed like everywhere I went, it was Poco and no longer Ray. So I said, well, I guess I'll hit and run with Poco.
There you go. That's like me. It's just like, my nickname's Doo-Doo. It kind of stuck. It just, that's what it is, stuck around from when I was younger, and, surf and skateboarding friends, and everybody's always called me Doo-Doo. So it's just that's what everybody calls me.
Yeah.
But that's cool. So you say you've been fishing a long time. You started at a young age and everything. Your dad and grandfather, and just starting out like that. But you said you were used to guide, used to be a boat guide in a boat.
Yes, sir. Yep. Man, I'll tell you how that started real quick. About times were tough, and man, if there's one thing I know how to do, and is fish. And my wife wanted to go into nursing school, and I thought, well, hell, man, I don't know how I'm going to be able to afford this. So I just said, you know what, let me go get licensed and start running some trips and just, pay through, for school. And that's really how it started, Dustin. I mean, I got my license and started throwing some business cards, and, I've got a ton of guide friends, and started, getting some overflow from them, and it just blew up from there, man. And next thing you know, I've got a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 job. I mean, I've been a salesman in the natural gas industry for about 18 years. And man, I started working Monday through Friday, and every Saturday and every Sunday, and it'd go for months. I mean, I'd go 3-4 months without a day off. And I really did it just to get her to school. And once I did, I just kind of kept on going. I mean, I didn't want to lose the business, and extra money was nice, so I just kept on running with it. And met like, man, there's so many good people in the fishing industry.
Yes.
And man, I ran with some great people and met some great people and did a lot of horse trading, a fishing trip or a hunting trip, and
barter system.
Oh
Texas
man,
barter system.
I love it, brother, and
Yes,
I've been able to benefit out of that. And once my wife finished up and started, she went into a hospital. The money was great, and she said, "I don't want you to do this anymore." I just decided to go ahead and start farming off work to other guys that were coming up, and hell, I still do that. And man, the last 4 or 5 years, I haven't guided much. Honestly, I haven't guided for money. It's just been trading, here and there. And that's really about it, man. That's the extent of my guiding career. It's been about 16 years of it.
Damn. So you had a lot of local knowledge of the waters you fished, in that area. Tell her what areas are you're from Corpus Christi area?
I live in Rocktown, born and raised in Rocktown, and you know where that is. It's just
yes, sir. I sure do. Got my trusty friends at Beck and Maston right there.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah.
Man, so I'm about 15 miles west of Corpus, and I grew up in this area. I fished the Nueces Bay system, Corpus Christi, Aransas Bay. I never, just because my dad never fished it, I never fished the Laguna up until about 10 years ago. I always fished everything else. So, yeah, tons of knowledge, man. I mean, I grew up fishing dead bait on bottom, double drop hook with dead shrimp, And
well, that's the thing about me. I grew up in southeast Georgia, in their river and marsh inshore estuaries, and you got 6 to 9 foot tide swings.
Oh man!
So when I started as a kid, like I bass fished all like local ponds and stuff, but we threw pin number 9s and 209 peerless with like 50-pound dicron and you had to put line dressing so it would float. You fished like big 12, 14-inch stick floats with 1.25 ounces with a leader, and then you had a little knot, a slip knot, to determine your depth when you find the fish off of the edge of the drop-offs of the shell on the edge of these rivers and mouths of the creeks, and you'd fish the tides, incoming and outgoing.
Gotcha.
And and that's the thing too, when you start out fishing like that, and you're used to doing stuff like that, but then being a bass fisherman, I was like, man, you know what, I'm gonna take some of these grubs, I'm gonna take these little curly tails, and I'm gonna do that, and then kind of spun off from there. And then when I moved to Texas, and I moved to Texas in 1996, and then it's like a whole nother world of man, you can wade here. You wade out in the bay. Man, you do that in freaking Georgia in one of them feeder creeks, you're gonna be in over your head in mud, like swoop, you're sunk, you're gone. You're gonna be hurting. Man, so all this guiding, and you got a lot of local knowledge. You say you met a lot of cool people in the guiding industry and then fishing industry as a whole, but now there's a whole different aspect of things opening up, and that's that kayak community. Which,
man, I'll tell you what, man.
You've hit the ground running with that too, man.
Yeah, so I quit guiding and started enjoying fishing a lot more, and the only thing, and I'll go a little bit more into personal detail here, and that the only thing I regret about guiding was not being able to fish as much as with my family and my dad. My dad was my mentor, and in his later years, I was so busy guiding. I kind of I failed to take him out as much as I would have liked to. Dad passed on, and that really hit. And I said, man, I'm losing time here. My kids are growing up, and I've got to fish. And when my wife said, hey, it's time for you to stop guiding, I was all over it. Sold my boat, and then, started getting into shark fishing, and that's a whole nother game there, and it's just as expensive as guiding, I guess you can say. And but man, we had a blast. The kids, a win-win situation. I shark fish, my wife would shark fish, my kids would swim in the beach. It was a cool thing, man. And that I guess we'll go into that here in a while. But man, I accomplished some cool catches, and
yeah, you did. You had a giant greater hammerhead.
Yeah, man, 50 foot.
Yeah.
I believe it just I think it was probably, it's debatable, but from what I'm understanding, top 2, maybe 3 catches of in the last 50, 60 years in our along the beach.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's been some big tigers, and but yeah, that was
there's been
Giant hammerhead. Giant hammerhead.
Just recently, Eric Oslin's caught a 14.8, man, and it's like, wow, but yeah, I just had a blast doing so. Had a good 5-6 year run doing it, and man, one day to another, my wife said, "Hey, I want to get into kayak fishing." I said, "Man, we've always kayaked, but never really gone after it hard." And so I went all in, man. Bought us some kayaks, and said, "Let's go ahead and start doing it." And man, I guess lack of better terms, brother, I'm head over heels with it. I'm
well, you're like the rest of us out there. All the listeners is going to hear this. Everybody, we're the same way.
Man, even
hit the ground running. Hit the ground running. Man.
Yeah, and she's happy to see it because she knows there. When you turn in one of your favorite hobbies, fishing, into a job, it changes your outlook on it. And so it was a job for many years for me, and then I kind of started losing my love for fishing. And when I came back in it, in the last 4 or 5 years, she's noticed it. She's like, "Man, you're back at loving it again." I said, "Yeah." And this year, I've only been kayaking, I guess, 6 months now. And she notices that my love for the fishing and the kayaking thing is unreal now, man. It's I'm all about it. I think about fishing tournaments and and just being on the kayak every day, So yeah, man, it's been really cool to transition from the whole big game aspect, of it, 200-pound braid and 1,500 yards and using 10 to 20-pound baits to, finesse fishing, sight casting, using all the light tackle stuff. Man, it's been a really, really cool transition, and man, I can't wait to see what turns out here.
Oh yeah, that's the cool thing about Texas, is that we have so many opportunities.
Absolutely.
So many different types of water. I mean, we got marsh and bayou, we got like flats with sand pockets and grass, we got structured reef. I mean, you got Baffin Bay with the rocks down there. That's totally something different of everywhere else, and you can access a lot of that by kayak. If you're willing to put in the work. And that's the cool thing about a kayak, is it's just the ease of access, and you can, you don't got to bust out another 1,000 every time something goes wrong on that boat. That's what that boat means. BOAT. Bust out another 1,000. So, but then the community, is the camaraderie and everybody, and that's how we met through tournaments and stuff.
Yeah.
So, that's why I was like, man, this guy seems real cool. You're fishing with one of my my very first show back in November of last year. So we're about to come up on our 1 year chasing the tide anniversary here, was Chris Castro, and that's you fished a tournament with him, that saltwater angler series. Yep.
Let me tell you how that started, brother. I it's no secret, Chris Castro is one of the top kayak anglers out there, and very, very knowledgeable in what he does. And going into wanting to get into kayak fishing, man, I said, man, I got to lean on somebody here for knowledge and advice. So I reached out to Chris, and this was back in March, I guess, February this year, and I said, hey man, this is what I have planned. This is my interest now. I said, what do you recommend? And all he could say was, wow, you're going from catching big sharks to going here. What's the story behind this? I said, man, I just looking to do something different, and my wife wants to do it. So he's like, well, man, let's talk. And from there we went on, and he recommended a few things, and I thought, well, I don't know if I want to go full bore with everything, but let me just see what I can go with. And one day we were just texting back and forth. I said, hey, do you fish tournaments? It was just a simple question. And his response was, when do we start? And I was like, man, I was just asking a question, but if you need a partner, hell, I'm all about it. And he says, man, let's do it. And we've been running together ever since, man. So it's been pretty cool getting to know everybody in the tournament world. And again, man, it's just a different everybody in the fishing community is great, man, but kayakers, man, it seems like they're real tight.
Yeah, we got a good core group, man. There's usually not a lot of drama, you can't get in the boat scene, here and there, but it's fun. The tournaments are fun. I like competition. I come from skateboard and surfing competition background too. It's just I love competing and just, you know, that feeling you get when you set the hook on that fish and you know it's the right one and you see that fish leading it to the net and you're about the adrenaline and everything when you're getting those redfish, you know, you get set up in a school and you're like, oh my God, this is about to happen, you know.
Yeah.
You know, or, you know, the trout, you're on the trout and you're like, man, that come up that gill flare and head shake and you're like, oh, that's the one. And then she flings your bait back at you and then you're like,
yeah.
You know, it's the ups and downs, man, but it's still the thrill of competing, man. And you know, that's what I love that part of it. And then, you know, there's a whole different side for the bass tournaments too. I mean, you can fish a tournament pretty much every weekend if you want to in Texas.
Yeah, I see that.
I mean, we've had some stuff going on.
You know, me and Chris had a conversation not long ago while on the water, you know, just, you know, BSing and about how a lot of the pro bass anglers have switched from boat to kayak, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys. Yep.
And that tells you something. That's the industry is definitely growing and changing. And I think there's a lot of more growth, you know, coming up. And
there's a whole lot more growth on the way. Yeah, I'm thinking.
Yeah, the way I'm seeing it and everybody's seeing it, man, it's pretty awesome. But yeah, absolutely, man. As far as being competitive, you know, when I took that 4 or 5 year layoff, I guess you can say, from guiding, I got into sporting clays. I've always shot sporting clays. I love it. I'm pretty good at it. I've been very successful with competing in archery, 3D archery. I've always done that. And my daughter, I guess, got me into it. She started real young and, man, 2-time national champion, 3-time state champion.
Sweet, man. That's a big accomplishment right there.
Big accomplishment, man. And I just felt like I got to keep up with this girl, you know. And,
yep.
Man, she got me so deep into it, and then she just bailed off on me. And I guess grew up to that little age where she's like, nah, this is boring. I kept, yeah, man, I kept up with it, and I still do it from time to time. It's fun, but man, I got to repeat what I said earlier, man. This whole kayak thing just got me messed up. You know?
Got you messed up in the head, man. Yeah, it does. So far as anything you can share with some people that might just be starting out as you transition to a kayak? Is there anything that you learned that you would tell people, hey, don't do this, or hey, you might want to do that? You know, throw some tips or something out there for somebody wanting to transition, you know, or start kayak.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So like I said, you know, I mean, I reached out to somebody that was very knowledgeable. There's tons of people out there that are willing to share information and help out and advise if you're willing to accept it. And I guess the main thing that I can say to somebody coming in is, man, don't go overboard right off the bat. Make sure you buy what you can afford, whether it be $500 kayak, get out there and learn the sport, enjoy it. If you like it, man, bump up from there, you know, get into a pedal drive system. And now, a lot of power units are being installed, and that's great, man, but it all adds up, you know. But yeah, getting into it, buy what you can afford, man. Get hang around with some good people, get out there on the water, learn from them. There's nothing worse that you can do or nothing worse than going out there in the water and acting like you know everything. Those guys won't invite you again, man. It's bottom line. I mean, they're not going to invite you again. Another thing is, and like, the way it is, man, you got to stay a little tight-lipped with what they show you, on the stuff, Yeah. I mean, if they're inviting you, man, look at it as a bonus. But don't burn them, man. That's the worst thing you can do. Yes. But yeah, as far as kayaking, man, just like I said, just get what you can afford. Go out there and have a good time, man. Wear your PPE. I mean, I can't say that enough.
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, because there's a lot of people that might just be starting out that don't really know what the Texas Parks and Wildlife, rules and regulations are. A PFD is required on the vessel. You don't have to have it on your person, but it does have to be on that vessel. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen new kayak anglers going to launch before daylight with no light,
Yep.
No PFD, period. Oh, we got to have one of those? Yeah, it has to be on the vessel. You might not have to wear it, but it's got to be on the vessel. Yeah. And they just had no clue, because it's just, you can just go grab one from Academy, $500-$600 and just go grab one. But there's nobody in there with the knowledge to share and let them know what needs to be going on. Say, like if you go to an outfitter like Roy's or Fish and Tackle Unlimited or somewhere where the bigger fin factory, the dealers.
Yep.
They carry these different brands of kayaks up the next level up, you say, from like the big box stores.
Yep.
And the main thing I see is just the safety aspect, because we did have a lot of accidents this past year.
Every year, man. It seems like every year you hear about them. I mean,
and not checking the weather, not planning out your trip. I know from being a guide, you knew the water, you paid attention to your surroundings. You had people on board. You had other people's safety in your hands. But that's the main thing. That's the thing I look at in kayak fishing too, is like, man, the wind's going to be doing this today. Maybe I'll fish this way, and then I'll use that wind to come back, or make sure there's no weather pattern change that day. And kind of, because in fronts and Texas weather, man, just cannot predict them things. Or just, like the other morning, it wasn't supposed to come in until after lunch, and it was 7 o'clock in the morning. It's blowing 30. Yep. It's like stuff can catch you off guard. And then another thing that I when I first got into the kayak, was like, man, what dude, I got all this stuff I want to take, but just the main thing is being organized on that kayak.
Yeah. And
having that stuff in the same place consistently, the stuff, exactly where your pliers are at, exactly where that de-hooking tool is at, exactly where that box of plastics is, everything's within hand's reach, your net, your gear, a bug out bag. I got a waterproof bag with rain gear, with extra granola bars, with an extra little thing of water, with the little small space blanket in case you get stuck. Who knows? I got a little bug out bag in my hatch that I transferred to kayaks, in case shit hits the fan. I mean, it can. That comes from being in the military and wanting to be prepared. Is just, but I can't say enough about being organized on the water. That's the main thing. Well, there's nothing worse than not being organized and losing the fish of your lifetime because you had something get in the way or get tangled up.
Absolutely, man. I can relate to that, because when I started off, I had stuff thrown all over my kayak, bro. I mean, it's just, I'm trying to find a net, and I'd reach the back, and it's in the front of me, and I didn't even pay attention to that. pliers, yep. Man. The boga grip, and I can't find it. It's thrown back there somewhere. And now it seems like every single time I go out, everything's in the same place. And man, it makes it so much easier, man.
Oh, it does. It makes a hell of a difference, man. It's night and day, and especially tournament day. You're going to have them certain baits you're going to want. Mm-hmm. Your stuff's rigged up right. I always like to get my stuff ready. The evening before, when it's still kind of daylight, I can take my time. I hate rushing. I hate last minute. It's just, I like my stuff to be organized. I'm a little meticulous about it sometimes.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah. So, you did some guide, you did some shark fishing, you had some epic catches off the Gulf beaches here.
Yes, sir.
In the coastal Bend area. So what as far as being on a kayak now, what have you enjoyed the most targeting? What's your favorite species right now?
Targeting redfish in the marsh, man.
Redfish in the marsh is the thing. Yeah,
I love it, bro. I love it. It's one of those things, like you said. I mean, it's a challenge, and setting up on a running redfish on the shoreline, or trying to get ahead of it. Setting up on a school. It's a big excitement for me. Redfish in the marsh. That is probably, my number one species right now. And this is coming from me guiding about 90% for trout.
Yeah.
And, I always target redfish. That's not what I'm trying to say. I've always caught redfish, but man, this is different. This is something that I prefer to do. And
being that close to the water, close to the action in that kayak.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, literally, I've had them like schools like right beside me, and I just drop my rod tip over the side, hook up, bam, that's what's insane about it, being back in that marsh. You never know what's going to happen. You come around a drain that opens up to the next little back lake, and there's freaking birds diving, and there's tails everywhere. Yeah. And they're all moving your way, and you're just like, oh my gosh, is this really happening?
Yep, absolutely.
And that's the time of year right now. The time of year that is now. That is happening right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm hitting it in the morning after work. So that tells you something about how hyped I get about fishing. Is I'm working all night, graveyard shift, and I'm going fishing after work.
Man. That's I mean, I've always hit redfish schools, with birds working off of a boat. But like you said, man, when you're in a kayak, it's personal. It's a lot, man. I've reached down and actually touched a redfish, and what's funny is he wouldn't take my lure. I watched him 30 feet in front of me coming at me, and I casted him 3 or 4 times, and he just come right by me, and I reached down and tapped him on the back. I mean, I was like, wow, that was pretty cool. But you don't get to see that kind of stuff when you're on a boat. I've been on a boat all my life, and I can tell you I've seen some crazy stuff with redfish. Yeah. But this time was like, damn, that was awesome.
Because a lot of places we're going back there to drag across and get in these back lakes. So you're not getting back there without an airboat. And that's the cool thing about a kayak. We're getting in the back in some areas that you can't get to.
Oh yeah, I've got buddies.
That's a big plus.
I've got guide buddies that have called me and, hey man, where are you getting those redfish? Oh man, in the marsh. And man, how do I get back there? So you can't. I mean,
on the boat.
Trust me, I've got a boat. I still got a boat. I said I can't get back there, brother.
Yeah.
My boat runs in 5 inches. Well, that's great because I pushed myself in 3 inches yesterday.
Yeah, it'll run in 5 inches, but once you set it down, you ain't getting it back up.
Yeah, man. I've had several people call me, buddies, and man, we've seen you posting, man. You're on some redfish back there, man. Show me the way. I'm like, you know where they're at. You just can't get to them. You know that.
Can't get to them. Yeah, and that's the cool thing. There's just so much. There's so much water. You believe it or not, as crowded as the water is, as much pressure as there is, fishing pressure, that it's crazy to think that we can still get back in some areas and still be the only ones back there. Because it's still like that. I got some spots around me that's the same way as some of the stuff y'all fished over there too, in your area. It's really cool that you can still get back there and kind of get lost in it,
Oh man, I fished this area all my pretty much all my guiding career, and I knew the redfish were back there. Again, I couldn't get to them, but I didn't realize, again, like he said, how big the water is back there. Or any marsh. I mean, it just looks like, if you look on Google Earth or whatever, it just looks okay. It's a nice little area. But once you get a kayak in there, man, and you start making that little left turn, right turn cut, lake, and at the end of the day, man, you're in at 8, 9, 10, 12 miles. You're like, how did I do that? I mean,
how did you get back in there?
Yeah, exactly. So that is pretty cool. Man, I never in my life would have imagined I'd put so many miles on a kayak than I have this year. It amazes me. Even my wife is like, I don't know how you do it, because when I take her, I don't go that far. We'll find some easier area. She's good for 2-3 miles and 4 miles, and we're doing these trips, scouting trips, tournament trips. I mean, we're ranging 9 to 14 miles, and she's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, there's days I'll do 8 to 14.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I do have the torpedo when I'm out scouting. I got the little motor, just like Chris. He's got his Bixby, Chris Castro. It does pay off to have a little extra, help. Pedal drive. Sometimes though, you get back in that marsh, you gotta trust that trusty paddle, man, because that's about all you're going to use back there in some of them spots when the grass gets growed up and everything, and you're in those pockets with that submergent grass, and motor is not working, prop drive, pedal drive, fin drive, nothing's working in there. You have to push through the muck sometimes.
I have done that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I like it when they back in there like that, because I got some bass fishing tricks. I use the soft body frogs.
Oh
yeah, the weedless frogs, and they kill them over around in here. I'm sure they'll eat them down there too.
I don't remember who I heard say that not long ago, and he mentioned it. He said he was at Walmart. They had them on sale, and he went ahead and bought one, and skipped it off the top, like a top water, and it got smashed. And now he keeps them in his arsenal. It was like, well, I guess that's thinking outside the box.
Yeah, they smash them. Strike King has some that's a bone colored with a little bit of orange on them.
Yeah,
they like those. And I mean, like I said, the redfish they act like a bass too. They're opportunistic feeders. They're going to crush something to ambush it.
right.
Anything that looks like a crab, even your crawfish imitation baits, set up like a punching rig when you're punching through heavy cover for bass. You're pitching that in the back of the reeds and stuff. They're going to hit it just the same way. Little bit of Procure on there, they really gonna hit it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Some stank stick.
Some stank stick. Yeah. So there you go. Here we go. We're gonna get into that right now. Tackle Box Confessional. Pick three. You got 3 rods, 3 setups on your kayak. What are they gonna be? Baitcaster, Spincast, and what 3 lures are gonna be on there?
Man, I run most times I run 3 rods. I got two light spinners and a caster. 90% of the time I am running a light spinning rod with a I guess you can say one of my favorite lures, and it always has been, is a down south original, and in a white and chartreuse. If I'm fishing the marsh, that's what I'm usually always throwing, is a white and chartreuse. It is always on one rod. And I like running back in the marsh, man. I like running a 1/16, knotty hooker, or any other jig head. That's always on one rod. I will add that here in the last month I've been trying out AM lures. Mm-hmm. Man, I don't know what it is about those lures. They just the garlic smell just has me more attracted, I guess, than anything else.
He catches the fisherman, but it's a pretty cool profile bait. It's like a new school curly tail is what it is.
I've never used a curly tail until I bought that pack, and I've had good luck with it. Matter of fact, I went this morning and bought a few more, different colors, and I try to keep it pretty simple. I usually keep a white and chartreuse, a bone diamond, pumpkin seed, and a purple rain. And then no matter where I go, I can figure out what.
Yeah, light profile to darker profile. Got the range covered, and that's about all you need with light weather conditions and water conditions. That's good to go.
Rod number 2, light spinning rod. Again, same jig head, and I'll just have a different color on. Basically exact same setup, just different color. And what I do sometimes is if I'm casting at a fish and it doesn't want to take it, or I know there's fish there and they don't want to bite, I'll just grab the other rod instead of switching out lures. No other reason why I do that, just that. And man, the number 3 rod, I'll switch it between a top water, which I'll be very honest with you. I'm not a confident top water guy. Never have been. I just cannot get the confidence in it. But I will put on a popping quart worm hook and a 4-inch Berkeley goat any day of the week. And I'll run that rod I'll run that setup on my 3rd rod all day. If I need to. If the other 2 aren't working, I'm running a popping quart, man. And if they're not taking a paddle tail or curly tail, they'll almost always take a Berkeley goat. That's just my experience, But those would be my 3 setups right there, man, all the time.
I'm big time top water, man. If I could throw it, I'm throwing it. I just love it, man. I love it. And also I've been added to my arsenal the wake baits, the subsurface.
So, man, why don't you tell me a little bit about that? I just recently ordered some hunchbacks. I've been reading up a lot on them, and again, just trying to think outside the box here, because it's out of my norm.
Right.
But I ordered some, and I keep them in my box, and I've thrown them a few times, and I just
got to build confidence in them. I prefer them around structure, more around the edges of oyster shell or hard edge grass lines with ambush points, and then over the sand pockets in like around Laguna or Redfish Bay, or around Brown and Root Flats and stuff like that. That's around the Aransas Pass area, Port Aransas area with it. This is clear water with the grass, with the sand pockets, something like that. Or a lot of times when they're like kind of short striking on the top water, I'll have a hunchback tied on, or this guy here in Victoria. He paints custom lures, salty plugger custom lures. He has some really cool little one knocker wake baits that are really good. Bone with chartreuse on the tail, little pinfish imitation color. It's like a mullet with a black and red, gold flake inside of it, and they just I like them around structure a lot more than just open water. They don't work for me in open water. I'd rather throw a top water and bring them up a little more in open water. But yeah, I'm a believer in them. I got a little bit of confidence built up in them, but mainly I'm gonna have a top water, a screw lock jig head, 16th ounce or 8th ounce with a paddle tail, and another thing I've crossed over recently from the bass side of thing is what's called a donkey rig.
I think I've seen a picture of
it's a double fluke.
Yep.
Yeah, it's 2 weedless hooks and you got a swivel tied to one 14-inch leader, then a swivel through the line tied to about a 20-inch leader, and they both just kind of dart and twist together. And the longer leader, I put a 16th ounce weedless worm hook on it, and then the other one's just a weightless. So you got a little bit of weight on that bottom to pull it down a little more. But whenever they're smacking the shad, whenever they're stacked up on shad, just blowing shad up everywhere, you put a little smaller, Grande is who I'm hooked up with. So I fish their airtail salty shad. It's got a little hollow tail. You could put a rattle in it if you want to call them out a little more. But those things have been deadly on the mud flats when the fish are push shad up on the shallower mud flats. That donkey rig for some reason gets their attention, especially when they're like a bait buster color, white shad color, kind of white glittery, kind of like a white ice or something.
Gotcha. Yep.
Give you something similar to those shad in there that are all schooled up, and it gives them something to go after when they won't touch anything else sometimes. And I like to have a redfish magic or spinner bait. Yep. Actually, I order my own willow blades and change them out to willow blades. So it's like a big beetle spin with a paddle tail.
Yep.
And burning those across the mud flats has paid off too back in the marsh for me. We're in the areas I'm targeted around here.
That's a popular Louisiana rig, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, they use it.
Chatterbaits, bass chatterbaits have taken off for me too around this area. I've started using them. Give them something they haven't seen a whole lot of, and that's the thing. Everybody I see at the ramp, they don't got chatterbaits on the rod.
Yeah, man. I've kind of leaned over to, I guess you can say I've started to think outside the box some, instead of using the norm. And that's really what I do on that third rod is I kind of, throw something that normally I wouldn't throw. The other day I found I was fishing with a customer for bass a few years ago, and I found some XD crankbaits, and I found one that was like 1 to 3 foot, looked like I forget, sexy shad or something was what it's called, and man, I threw that for a day and didn't get no bump or nothing, but I just trying to figure out, hey man, throw something that, like you said, they haven't seen.
They'll smack you.
Yeah.
Some of that deep reef around up here, some of these deeper boat harbors.
Yeah.
In the wintertime, I'll fish a crankbait in there along some of the bulkheads and do pretty good sometimes.
Awesome, man.
The trout will smack them too. Yeah.
Hey, on that hunchback in the flats, clear water, fishing potholes, man, what color you prefer?
I like that white with a pink.
Yeah.
There's a white with a pink head, and then a bone colored one's always. Yeah. That's my go-to right there. It's that bone with a little bit of orange on it. And then there's another one that's an olive green it's got a little bit of gold and a black back. I really like that one in the marsh. That one that's the hunchback makes that color too. Man, those things are kind of hard to beat. Those 3 colors right there. Something a little darker. There's a black and purple one, then the gold, olive, and black, and then a white with a pink head, and then like a bone chartreuse. That's probably would be my go-tos on them for color range. And a lot of times those redfish, they like to smack them whenever you give it a pause. You give it two, three reels and pause it. 2, 3, 4 little cranks and pause. A lot of times the fish are hitting those on a pause too. For some reason, the fish up here they've been silly.
Yeah.
They like the top waters with a little pause in them sometimes. The fall transition period here.
Yep.
And sometimes you just got to change it up and vary your retrieves. That's what it takes to pattern the fish. Anyways, you got to change up a little bit.
Absolutely, man. All the time, figure them out all the time.
Yes, sir. So, all right, we got your pick 3. Got it, pick 3. We got it knocked out. So, yeah, let's talk about some tournaments, man. You had a pretty good showing this last weekend.
Yeah, man. So it was an individual tournament, for Fanatic. I've been kind of eyeing them, that tournament, flyer for a couple of weeks, and I thought, man, I wonder if I should give it a shot, and there was nothing else going on. The wife was working. I said, and I reached out to Chris. I said, hey, you fishing it? He goes, man, not really. Don't know. I don't think I am. I said, man, I'm considering it. He goes, well, if you do it, let's do it. Let's roll. It's an individual tournament. Yeah. He said, I'll roll with you. I said, all right, well, let's do it. So we signed up and came up with a game plan. And the game plan was, I was going to fish the outside of the marsh, into the bay with some reefs and target that early for trout, it was a 2 trout, 1 redfish stringer. So I said, I've got some reefs that I think we can hit. And, man, we went after it. And, catching trout wasn't a problem. We were on trout. Catching the right ones was the issue.
Yeah.
And, I got a couple of reefs that hold some solid fish, and I felt confident that we can get a few out of them, and they just weren't happening. But we kept on pushing and pushing. It's 10:30 in the morning already, and we don't have but 17, 18-inch trout. And so we pushed a little further into another reef, and man, first cast, 20-inch fat. I said, all right, this is an upgrade. And a couple casts later, 21-inch, even a little fatter. And I said, all right, well, I'm in the running now with a trout. I got to go find a redfish. And Chris, he wasn't confident with the trout he had, but he said, man, it's better one of us than none of us. So let's go ahead and roll. And we dug deep into the marsh and felt, with these tides right now, it's just
it's got the fish spread out a little more.
Lots of blind casting,
Yes.
Out. Yep. And but we felt confident in the little area that we were going to. They've been there, so we went in there, and I ventured off to a little pocket that had some what looked like fish holding in it, and the spot that we were supposed to go to, Chris went to, and I didn't even get to make a cast, man. And Chris yelled at me he was hooked up. I said, all right, well, we got to go. So I went over to him, and he got a nice 6-pound fish, and he said, I'm in the running now for red. I'm going back into the bay to find the trout.
Upgrade.
He left me, and I was digging, and I finally blind casting landed a solid redfish. And long story is, man, at that point we were 4.5 miles from the truck, and man, we had to get it. I'm not gonna lie to you, brother. I was pedaling and paddling at the same time. It's something I've never done before, and was dragging some decent fish, and had 4.5 miles to go, man. And we made it. We both made it to the truck and threw everything and hauled butt and made it to the tournament with 10 minutes left. That was way too close. But man, it paid off, brother. I won second place stringer with about 10 pounds, 8 ounces or so.
Yes.
I forgot to mention the whole gaff top thing. They had a gaff top side pot, and I ended up taking some live bait with me and caught a 4-pound 8-ounce gaff top, and that one heaviest gaff top, and overall grand champion. I took it with 16 pounds of total weight. That included the 2 trout, red and gaff top.
That's the grand champion with the gaff top.
Yeah, man, grand champion, man. Took the Super Bowl ring, and
old Slimer,
man.
Hey, them things. I got some spots over here. They'll crush top waters, and you think you got a big trout.
Yeah.
Till you see that slime. Yep.
Yeah. Chris got a nice, 2.5, 3-pounder on a paddle tail.
Yep. They'll hit on. They're aggressive feeders, man. They'll get schooled up too and get in the birds and make you think you're gonna pull up on some trout, and you're like, oh man, look at this thing. Whisker fish.
Yeah, that was so that was a good turnout, man. I won, like I said, second on the stringer, first on the gaff top, and overall grand champion.
Overall grand champion. Had a good little payday. You got a little ring for that one up.
Yeah, got a nice ring, custom ring out of it. Got some cash, custom rod, some trophies.
Yep.
Man, it was a nice turnout. Chris ended up 5th on the stringer. He got a nice little check as well, man. So that was a good turnout.
Good turnout. Yeah, hey, had a good turnout at the Fin Attic. They do a lot for the youth in San Antonio. They usually have a tournament on either Browning or Calveras, which is some landlocked lakes that they actually stock redfish in. It's a big deal up there in the San Antonio area, and they usually have the tournaments up there. But they finally brought one down at Coastal Bend, and I was really bummed I didn't get to make it because I'd been on some really good trout. So I was like excited, and I was like, man, I can go knock my trout out early. I go on the redfish. The redfish are where they're supposed to be, So I was like, man, this will be a good one because it's that mixed bag stringer, and that's where I love in tournaments like that. I get stale on just the redfish only tournaments. I like to have the trout involved, man. I do. I like to have that trout because you got to work harder to find the right trout.
Oh man, I tell you what,
yes.
You're exactly right. We hit 4 reefs within about a mile and a half. And then we went further in for the redfish, and at the end of the day, man, I looked at my tracker, and that was 11 miles.
Oh yeah. You put in some work on them tournament days, man. It's the truth, man. But yeah, I went back on night shifts that Friday night, and it ended up being a rough night at work. So it was busy. So I had to work all Friday night. I had to fish. Then I would have had a whole bunch to weigh in. And if I'd have been in the running for rewards, I wouldn't have got done till 6:37, which I'm supposed to be at work at 6. Then I would have had an hour and a half drive back to work, and I'd have been late. Probably would have got a little, dock some time or something. It's like, man, I really wanted to fish that tournament, but it just didn't pan out. It's just.
Oh man, it took a while. Your work didn't finish until almost 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I'd have been late. My boss would have been calling me, boy, you're supposed to get back over here.
Yeah.
I mean, we would have had the stuff covered, but it's just like, man, It would have been kind of shitty, not that good of me to kind of, be late trying to fish the tournament, but it was there. I've missed more than I wanted to this year. Like we're going to miss this weekend coming up. There's a couple. There's the Hobie Owners Tournament that Fin Factory's putting on. And then we got a makeup event date for the Saltwater Angler Redfish Series.
Yes, sir.
So I know you.
I'm fishing both of those, man. I'm not sure. I think come Monday I'm going to need a day off because that's going to be this weekend for me. And
grind.
Yeah, it's going to be a grind, man. But I'm looking forward to it. Challenge. Lots of good people signing up. There was 90 people at this Fin Attic tournament, in the open division, and I believe the Hobie. I think they're counting on around about 100 people right now. And the Sunday saltwater angler redfish series sounds like there's going to be a good turnout.
Good turnout because a lot of people are going to be in town for that Hobie event.
Absolutely, yep.
I think there's going to be more teams at this event than there were at the last one.
Yeah, I hope so, man. That'd make a nice payout if we can get lucky.
Yeah, those are some good payouts. Yeah, we just had a good payout at that saltwater survival series. That the trout event there, their flounder event's coming up in November. That's open to all Texas waters too. But that weigh-in's all the way up in San Leon, Dickinson Bay, other side of Texas City.
Yeah, that's a haul.
But I'm a little closer when fishing Port Lavaca area, So yeah, that was a grind that day for that tournament for sure. Woo, man.
Yeah,
so you can use motors. You can use motors for that tournament too, which is
I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm not sure. We'll know more this weekend, but I don't know if you've heard. Sounds like the National Redfish League and Redfish World Series affiliated tournaments, which Saltwater Angler Redfish Series is one of them. Sounds like they're going to motorize next year, and which I truly believe that's gonna. increase participation, man. There's
definitely
good anglers out there that just do not want to put in that 8-10 mile work. But they'll do it, they'll do it with a little extra horsepower, and I'm right there with them, man. I feel like, man, that's going to keep some fresh legs, fresh arms.
It does. I don't use mine the whole time. I use it to get to certain spots, and then I pull it up.
Yep.
And I paddle, and I stand up and sight cast, and then I use it. And because you can't really, if you're going to bring back live redfish, you can't really haul butt for them fish unless you got a live well on your kayak, which there's ways to rig up one, which will work. So, there's a lot of planning involved in tournaments as far as getting the fish back fresh, getting them back to where they're going to, you get them in the live well in the truck and get them back to weigh in. Because sometimes, you're hour and a half, 2.5 hours from weigh in, and you got to make them fish, make that trek back with a fish and with a circulator, and you got to add some, G juice or some kind of a fish preserving liquid that they sell. I know G juice makes it, some good stuff. So there's a lot involved in when you get back load up, make sure the fish are good, because you lose half a pound for each dead fish you weigh in.
Absolutely. Like us, we fish the marsh, like you do. And man, that marsh water gets pretty hot this time of year, man. And you're in the shallows, low oxygen, man. And it just, our first tournament that we fished, I had to find a makeup. Chris got tied up and couldn't make it, but it cost us second place, man. I lost the redfish. He died on me. Super hard fight in 8 inches of water. And I mean, he was literally dead when I put him in the net. I mean,
he was spent already.
He was spent. I took off paddling as best I could, holding him along the side, trying to get him some oxygen, and he was done. But you're right, man. There's so much involved into it, and I think that's why I love it so much. It's just it's a challenge, not only keeping them alive on the stringer, keeping them alive on the road. And you gotta like us, we account for pulling over once or twice to check on them.
Check on them.
So man, it's really cool. But the saltwater angler redfish series next year, brother, man, I hope you're able to get on them. I'm hearing 1 day pro series individual, and
I hope,
and 2 day pro series team event. Yeah, man, and it qualifies you for the Redfish World Series in Louisiana.
Yeah, that's what Ron was talking about. I'll be excited about that.
Yeah, man, it's gonna put us on another level, man, a whole new playing field. I tried the IFA tournament out of Port Lavaca. Yeah, and I fished home water, so I had about an hour and a half of drive, and my game plan was to go in and do the same game plan that I did this past weekend, fish the outside, come back in. Man, I spent the majority of my time trying to catch a trout, and for the life of me, I could not catch a keeper trout that day. Yeah. And I know 4 or 5 other guys, solid fishermen, that had the exact same issue.
It was tough bites. I was on the turnaround still. I couldn't fish that one. The same thing happened. But the guy who won, he's a local. He was fishing the same areas I would have been fishing. Gotcha. He was fishing the same waters. I know where he's fishing. I see him a lot.
There you go, man.
Yeah, so he did good.
No, but tournaments. I'm just happy to have Chris Castro on board with me, man. And we drive each other, we push each other. We don't hold back info on the individual tournaments, man.
Right.
If one of us is on the podium, we're happy for each other, man. And I really that means a lot. It keeps everything fun. And definitely. I can tell you, there's a few teams out there that they're together because it's convenient, and not really because they want to succeed, man. And it's kind of a downer, when you see that.
Right. Oh yeah.
They go tight-lipped when it comes down to an individual tournament. It's like, geez, come on, man, help
each other out. That's how I am with Mike, with my partner. I'm like, dude, he fishes something. I say, oh, well, you need to go fish here. Like, he did the Port Lavaca IFA, and I told him, hey, you need to go do this and this. But it just was tough that day. It's just one of them deals, man. I'm ready for it. We got a couple more coming up, so I know I can't fish the ones this weekend. It kind of bummed me out to have to work.
Yeah.
But there's a couple more left. There's the Saltwater Survival Series Flounder event, and Who's Your Flatty Daddy That's out of Houston area too. That's a big time flounder tournament.
And I saw that ad on that one.
Yeah.
What, 30,000 or something like that?
Yeah, there's three $25,000 jackpots.
Wow.
Yeah. There's some big money in that one. And then is there anything else? I don't know if there's anything else.
I don't think there's any more big ones this year as far as down here. You'll have
there's a couple One Fish Wonders for the Upper Coast kayak anglers.
Yeah.
Yep. There's Salt Club. Heroes on the Water.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Salt Club has some stuff coming up, and that's Upper Coast area, Port Arthur. That's up there a good ways. And then there's some benefit bass tournaments coming up too.
Yeah, I've never done
a couple of those.
Doing one in the future.
Yeah, come on, man. I fish Fayette Lake and Bass Drop. I fish a lot of those lakes a lot.
Okay.
You ever want to go? Let me know. Choke Canyon, it's not too far from you either. That's just
an hour away, brother.
There's some giants in there, and there's some giant gators in there too. But they all good.
I see.
There's some of them where we fish in the marsh, anyways.
Oh yeah, for sure, man, for sure. But now you're talking about Choke Canyon, man. I see Eugene Mora all the time, man. That boy's he gets on him.
Yeah, that's my boy Eugene. Yeah, yep. Yeah. That's the thing. We didn't have his tournaments that he puts on.
Yeah.
SAKF would do a split trail. He'd have 2 bass tournaments and 2 saltwater events.
That's right.
Your best 3 would go towards the angler of the year and all that. And he'd have good, 40 to 60 people. It was good paydays. I'll cash a couple checks at his events. They're always a plus, have some money like that. And have some support from Roy's and the sponsors and stuff and people that are interested in kayak fishing. These companies, Stinky Pants and everybody, it's all fun, man. Is to have that association and these companies to see how much this is growing and see how passionate a bunch of us are. Because it's like, well, we get to talk about it, I get all excited.
Yeah, for sure, man. I hope everything goes back to normal next year, man.
I do too.
It'd be very interesting.
Cool deal, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. I wanted to get you on. It was cool to see that you had, transitioned from guiding for so many years, and you're like full in the kayak thing, and it's just like, see, this is what it's all about right here, is coming over and getting involved in this scene we got, this little community, and you're a testament to seeing what it's about and sharing that with all these new people that are coming into it also. That it's pretty awesome. So, is there the stage is yours right now, brother? You got some people you want to thank and all that. We're gonna wrap it up. Let you give thanks to some, support, family, and all that. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, man. My wife and my kids, man. They support me. My kids are all grown. I've got 3 daughters. So I've got a 12-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 20-year-old. 20-year-old, man, is like a second mom. We rely on her a lot. She's great, man. I can't thank her enough. All good kids, very supportive wife. Man, I've been with Pure Fishing for about 16 years. Great company. It's kind of funny because I don't utilize them as much as I should. They do help us out a lot, and I do appreciate the support that I get from them. Red Tail Republic, Nino Gonzalez, man, good dude, great product, local guy, tournament angler. He's a good person, man. And that's really it for sponsors, brother. Fairly new into the kayak world. Don't have any kayak sponsors, any kind of stuff like that. Eyes and ears are always open.
There you go. Everybody out there listening.
Yeah,
he's your man right here. Need a little POCO on your team. Need a man.
Fish 4 tournaments this year, on the podium twice, man. I'm 50% right now. So
there you go.
Hey, we gotta keep it going, brother. See if
man.
It'll get better this year. Maybe get a little lucky. Get a little luck this weekend, man. 6,000.
This weekend, man. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's some big payouts this weekend coming up. So man, I wish y'all both the best in the Hobies individual events, and then that saltwater angler, man. I really wish that me and Mike can make it. I don't know if he's going to find somebody to sit in for me, but hopefully he will. That should be some good weather this weekend looking. So,
man, it's looking great, bro. It really is. It's probably one of the better weekends as far as low humidity and light winds and all. So,
yep.
Hopefully nothing's changed. We're going to be pre-fishing the next 2 days. The Hobie tournament is a Florida style. So we got to fish one area, and then we'll be pre-fishing another area for Sunday.
It's a it's not a Roadrunner event. Everybody's shotgun start from the same launch.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fishing the Upper Laguna.
Right.
I haven't been over there in a while.
Is that out of Marker 37?
It's out of
or the other one, Bluffs Landing.
Not Bluff Landing, Bluff Marina. Or
Bluff
something.
Marina. That's it. There's a couple different names. A couple over there. Okay.
Yeah, it's not a monster area. It's about a 3-mile radius and 100 boats. Man, that's gonna
be tight.
It's gonna be pretty
tight.
It's gonna be tight.
Well, yeah, man. Well, best of luck to both of those this weekend, and I really appreciate you coming on. Thanks everybody for listening. Chasing the Tide, and y'all come back next time.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.